and welcome to our second edition of Guitar Tales. I'm thrilled we're back. I'm thrilled with our dear friends at Riverview Studios, riverviewstudios.com. I thank our dear friend of the show, Scott Guitarmacist Engel, who helped line us up with our fabulous guest, Big Daddy Abel.
Thanks, Scott.
Of the Amish Outlaws. And I got the name wrong before. I want to make sure I get it right. Nick Chavez gave us our fantastic logo, which is new from last week. We didn't have that. We are absolutely thrilled to be back. We have more shows lined up, but let's dig right into it with Big Daddy Abel. There's so much to talk about, and we were careful in the pre-interview. I didn't want to learn too much, okay? I got yelled at by my friend Todd from LA. He said we didn't have music early enough in the last show. So whenever you feel the need to pick up your Martin or your Fender, feel free.
Okay.
But Scott did it, Scott Engel did it 9 minutes in. Apparently that was too long.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right.
I'll get some awkward about this. So, let's talk about you a little bit. Your history, let's do the short version, and then we're going to do the long version. Oh. You've been in movies, I think.
Yeah, I did that for about 4 years, movies, TV shows.
All right.
That was just to pay the rent.
Okay. Well, what movies did you pay the rent with?
Gosh, the first one that I worked on was just, like extra work, background stuff.
Right.
Shaft, the original Sam Jackson
Oh,
Shaft.
Really?
It was a remake, but
that's still older than the more recent one.
Yeah, it is. And then
Right.
we just actually went to the movies the other night and saw that they're having another Shaft where his son comes back.
Oh, really?
I primarily worked on a show called Oz. It was a HBO show.
I know it well. Yeah.
Prison show. They moved me around. I was a biker inmate. I was one of the Christian inmates, and I was kind of like not a featured guy, but a regular, inmate.
Yeah, I have to go back to those because that was a really well done show.
It was a lot of fun to work on, but it was disturbing to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Because Tom Fontana really wanted to depict life inside prison.
Right, the realities. It was extraordinarily violent.
Yeah.
And characters you grew to care about were harmed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then also, the fact that he set a modern sort of setting like a Greek tragedy, where
Right.
he had the narrator in the chorus and,
Yeah, you had you cared about the guards. You cared about the meanest of the inmates. The storyline, I remember there was the religious gentleman. I mean, there were a few religious people.
You're talking about Luke Perry?
Oh, I forgot about it.
Yeah, Luke
Right.
Perry was on there.
I forgot.
Nicest guy on the planet. I was actually genuinely, when you hear a celebrity passes away and you go, oh, isn't that sad? And you think maybe your childhood or some better times.
There's a
something
connection that you draw from it. Yeah.
But the guy, he wasn't a Hollywood guy. It was just like the first day that he was there, he walked right in and goes, hey, how you doing? I'm Luke.
Right.
And I went, hi. Yeah, we know who you are.
Right.
But he was always a nice guy. And he was the religious preacher, I think it was.
I think it was.
I got to go back.
I remember when he started on the show, I thought, all right, how are they going to write him in to mix it up with the tougher guys? But he's a strong actor, and you believe it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we had, there were some scary looking guys on there. There was a guy by the name of Mikey Izratsky. He was the guy with the tomahawks tattooed on his cheek.
Oh, my God.
He was tattooed head to toe.
Right. Back when people weren't tattooed head to toe.
Oh, no, not on the face,
Right,
not at all. And he was a scary looking guy. And he was a vegan.
Oh, really?
He would take his guitar to the elderly home and play every weekend for them. And, it was just another example of don't judge a book by its cover.
Well, you're an example of that, So I've been telling you.
I don't always dress like this.
That's not what I heard, no. but I was telling people, so I don't know you. We just met tonight.
Yeah.
And Scott told me a little bit about you, and he said you're a super nice guy, but he also said the guy is 6'7". And when I talked to you on the phone, you were soft-spoken. Like the whole vibe, and I think it happens when people have the confidence of maybe being a big dude, they don't feel the need to act otherwise.
There's a lot of times, and I mean, every big guy will agree with me on this. It's like, sometimes you'll walk into a bar,
right,
and for whatever reason, a guy that's not as tall,
right,
he's angry about whatever he's angry about. And I've had times where guys have bumped me. You think you're big and bad? No, you think I'm big and bad.
Right.
I'm just waiting for my beer, or my drink, whatever.
Right.
You want one? Let me get you one.
Right.
But I mean, I get I get away with a lot in this outfit.
Oh,
so,
I bet.
You know,
I
I
bet.
mean, I can be silly. I can do sort of Don Rickles sort of stuff. Go Google Don Rickles.
For the younger people.
Yeah, for the younger
It's an
people
old
that
crowd
don't
watching us.
understand.
You're okay.
Oh yeah, by the way, he's not PC, and you probably would report him these days.
Yeah, yeah, he wasn't. Now let's move. Let's talk. So
Okay.
you did these movies, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hold on for a second, sorry, we're gonna fix something.
And welcome back to Guitar Tales. I'm Dave Cohen with Big Daddy Abel. There we go. So we were talking before, and when we were off air for a few minutes, for some reason my brain categorized your HBO work as movies, and you reminded me, no, that's television. But you did more conventional television also. What did you do there?
Oh, well, I worked on.
Yeah, you
Everybody's
got it.
going to hate me. My least favorite show, Law and Order.
Why is that your least favorite show?
I don't know. Probably because at my house I hear duh 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 24 hours a day, and it makes me nuts.
Right,
And
right,
that
Right. That's how they segue from scene to scene on the show.
yeah. But I mean, the first time that I ever worked on anything, it was a Law and Order episode,
Okay.
and it was in Harlem.
Okay. Were you like bad guy number 4 or something like that?
I was Thing walking in the background across the street down the block, so that you don't see anything blocking Chris Maloney's head. So
that's funny.
it was terrible, honestly. I mean, it was like, you know, here you go, oh, I'm going to be on a TV show.
Right.
And then a few weeks later, I got the paycheck, and it was like $23. I went, wait a minute, I worked for 10 hours, and it was $46 for paying a non-union background person.
Right.
And then they took money for the
Taxes.
yeah, but there was an agency that placed
Oh,
you,
they
so
take
they
a
took their
piece.
cut. They took
the
a
vid.
piece. Yeah.
Right.
You took $4.60 from me, as well as the other.
Oh, I beat you. I think I made $40. Remember George Hamilton's version of George Washington, the miniseries? I was a Hessian soldier in that,
Well done.
except I made the cutting room floor. So I had my parents videotape all, whatever it was, 12 hours of it. I watched the entire show in fast forward, looking for what I thought was my scene where I died. And what I remember is I had like the glue from the beard going into my mouth. It was about 95 degrees. I had all sorts of heavy clothing on. And I had to dive when there was a bomb. And I had my hand fall on my helmet like this. I did it on purpose. And I moved my finger around so I'd be able to identify myself in the movie. Except I'm sure somewhere in some editing room, someone's like, who's the asshole who's shaking his finger?
That guy's finger's moving. Cut it.
Yeah, so I never was on television.
You told your parents before you ever came out?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I made that mistake a couple times. Like, I did some soap operas, and like Guiding Light was
Okay.
one. And
Also no tapes.
well, the way that it lined up, and
Right.
they shoot very differently. So the way that it lined up was that it was supposed to be on a Tuesday. It should have aired on a Tuesday, but for whatever reason, it didn't. I had told everyone, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be on Tuesday, and blah, blah, blah. And I had an under 5, and it was, you know, my face, this guy's face, and the girl's
What does an under
face.
5 mean?
Under 5 means that you have literally less than 5 lines. For whatever reason,
It's a union rule, I guess, right?
Yeah, and at that time, I ended up in the union after
So you
that.
got your SAG card because of that?
No, I got my SAG card because of Oz.
Okay.
But on the Guiding Light and As the World Turns, that stuff is AFTRA. So I
Okay.
got to get both cards.
Okay.
But when you get an under 5, you are literally working as a paid union actor that day. So it was like,
So that's huge.
I got $500 for 90 seconds of work. It took
Right.
me longer to get to the place
Right,
and
right.
get back. They gave me a dressing room the size of Montana, and I got in there and I was like, all right, this
Nope.
doesn't stink.
What kind of character were you?
I was a hippie. I was
Okay.
hippie number 1 or whatever. And the girl that was the regular actress, I don't even remember her name, little tiny brunette about the size of Monica. Monica is the girl that's running the camera that you're looking at from me behind now.
By the way, we have to put a picture, when we edit it, we have to put a picture up because when you guys met, there was
Oh, yeah,
Monica had
there's-
this look of surprise on her face.
There's a, yeah. Oh, and by the way, not to leave out, Jamie's back over here, so.
That's
I'm
right.
sure you do it in the credits, but I like to let everybody know. Anyway, so this lady, she was
Nice
learning
job bringing us back.
I see, I always bring it back around.
Good work, all right.
You got to tie up the loose ends and then get rid of the bodies. So always carry shovel and a bag of lime. She had.
You 2 bags of lime. If we
Well,
had to get rid of you.
If you do it properly, like they say in that movie Snatch, you know, where you like
Right.
take the limbs, and I think we're going down the wrong way. We're gonna have to put a disclaimer on this. No bodies were actually harmed in the making of this video. So she had tied up her husband, put him in a cabin, impregnated herself while he was unconscious. Then she wanted to escape, and we picked her up hitchhiking.
So that's the storyline.
And she's going to a commune with us. Real sweet commune.
Wow.
We got into this Volkswagen Bug, which was kind of in a room about the size of this.
Right.
And they had it up on jacks. So they called us to the set, and we got into this old hippie Volkswagen Bug.
Right.
And they were,
Oh, to simulate movement.
yeah, they had sticks and, boards making it move
Right.
a little bit. And yeah, okay. She gets in. She's like, you want to run it? Okay, we run it. And we didn't get mic'd up. We didn't get ready. We ran through it 3 times, and then we said, okay, we're ready. Yeah, we got it. Okay. Yeah, let's go to lunch, everybody.
So you were
90
taped, you
seconds.
didn't know you were being taped. So they did it without micing you because I guess the ambient sound worked. Or they wanted
They
it to
had the
sound
mics
road-like.
all inside of the
really?
dashboard, which they had flowers and grass and
That's the
stuff
best
on
way
it.
to do it because you had an organic scene. You didn't even know you were doing the real version of it.
Yeah, no, we had no idea.
And those are live on tape, so I would imagine that those kind of shows, they just want to get it done because the next day they got to film the next one,
They're
right?
war horses. I mean, well, it's funny. And are there any of those still on yet? I don't remember.
I don't know.
Anyway, but Guiding Light, we did another episode of it. So now Oz is not taping, recording.
Okay.
And we're between seasons 5 and 6, I think. I don't know. This was back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, so I don't remember. Now, the guy that I told you about before with the tomahawks on his cheek,
Right.
he's there. A couple of the other guys that are thugs were playing thugs at this bar.
Right.
And then finally,
At a bar on Guiding Light or at a...
on Guiding Light.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
sorry.
those guys, there's crossover between the shows.
Well, they needed, there was no cross, it wasn't intentional.
Right,
It was
right.
just, they had 5 people that worked on Oz that weren't working.
Were you the conduit? Is that how they found them? Or did they just randomly find the same people?
They go to the same same
agency?
agencies like
Okay.
to get people and stuff.
Right.
But they always want to get somebody that they know isn't going to like harass an actor.
Right.
I mean, I was in this proximity with Sam Jackson for a lot of that
Right.
Shaft movie, but it's just like, you do that thing. Oh, that's Sam Jackson right there. But you try to
amazing.
control yourself.
Yeah.
He's just a regular person like anybody else,
Right.
But you're looking and you're just like, oh, that's the guy right there.
Yeah, he's iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That reminds me, actually, I was working on there was a movie Robert De Niro did called City by the Sea.
Oh, that sounds
His son was
familiar.
a drug addict, and he was trying to clean him up. And his son is the guy that played his son was famous, but anyway. But there was a production assistant, and it's like 2 in the morning on, I don't know, it's in Alphabet City in Manhattan, and we're getting ready to do this scene. It's a night scene, and the PA comes over and says, yeah, don't stand next to Mr. De Niro.
Oh, I know why.
Oh, okay.
Because he's a little guy.
Well, they're using me to wipe the screen, which means, sometimes something will cross in front of the screen,
Just to
like a
create
car or a
movement
truck.
or whatever. Right.
Yeah,
okay.
just to, so there's a transition, right? So kind of like the picture that you showed of Monica and I standing there, it was just like my body went by. So
Right, right.
Actually, she's probably a little bit taller than him, I think, maybe. I don't know. But I got too close to him, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I, I'm like, "Oh, that's Robert De Niro."
Right, yeah.
And he goes, "Why? What's the matter?" And I said, "They told me don't stand there. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." Who told you that?
Now you're like, I'm going to get that person in trouble.
Yeah, I'm looking around, and it's like I don't see him anywhere. I'm sorry. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I just
That's
was
a
like,
bad position to be in. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm still. You don't want to ever. There's so much you don't want to upset anybody because you're not going to work again.
Right,
You
right.
know? And I'm trying to weasel my way in there because I wanted to try to get my music into on the soundtracks and things like
All
that.
right, yeah.
But so anyway, back to the Guiding Light thing. Where all the Oz guys are there.
You're at a bar, playing thugs
We're
at a bar.
We're actually at a wharf dock sort of dingy thing, and these
Yeah.
2 girls are playing. They're trying to play prostitutes, trying to find some information. They're looking for a guy. And if you remember Oz, the Nazis, the second in charge. I can't remember his name. You're gonna make me. I'll have to. Even if you held a gun to my girl's head, I wouldn't know. But he's like the lead thug, and we're just kind of there. So one of the girls is, we're on a break, and we're holding, and they're looking around, and she looks up, she's talking to the guys, and she goes, "Are we getting taken over by Oz? What's going on here? Do I got to get somebody on the phone?" Like she was the one, she watched Oz and recognized everybody there.
That's pretty cool.
But it was like literally 6 guys in there that, it looked like
That's
they
very
stumbled
funny.
into us before we went to jail.
Right. Oh, that's very funny. So you've got in your history now. Again, we literally could do 3 hours because I know you wrote a book. You
I'm
write
not doing
music.
3 hours dressed like this.
Okay. Well, we're gonna get you changed eventually. But let's do our segue now.
All right.
So let's talk about the Amish Outlaws.
Okay.
All right.
Amish to you.
Oh, you got me so confused. All right. So yeah,
I don't know. Everybody calls it something different.
it's spelled Amish, but it's Amish.
It's spelled Amish.
Amish.
I am Amish, right? I don't know.
I'm even more
What do I
confused.
know?
You've got an outfit on.
Yes,
so
sir.
you are not one of, well, there's,
I'm not one of the originals.
you're
no.
not one of the, so there's,
And I'm not Amish.
Right.
I'm a honorary, as they call it.
right, so there's 3 guys from Lancaster, or if you're out there, Lancaster.
Well, there's some people call it Lancaster, and I go, well, it's spelled with A's, so I don't know why you're calling it Lancaster, but it's Lancaster if you look at it.
That's what I've called it. So you got 3 guys from there, and you guys put together this band.
Yeah.
You've been there since '97 or something?
No, they've been together for 15 plus years. I've been there since 2007, December 2007.
All right, so you're 12 years in. That's
Yeah,
still a
yeah.
lot.
I'm on the upside, but there were 4. Now there's 3, and the bass player Easy, the keyboard player Amos, and the other singer Hezekiah, they are from out there.
And they're legit. I mean, like a name like Hezekiah is not a conventional.
Well, I'm sure there's people naming their kid that, but you know,
Right.
I haven't met too many. And then the drummer Jacob, he is a New York native living in Jersey. I'm a New Jersey native living in New York. And the newest addition is the guitar player Wyclef. He's in, I think he's outside of Philadelphia, kind of like southeast-ish of that.
So now where do you guys play?
Well, from Rhode Island down to West Virginia currently, and everything in between. A bunch of casinos, Borgata, Harrah's, Twin River up in Rhode Island, Hollywood Casino, and I think it's out in Hershey. They're all over the place.
Right.
You know, there's times when people ask me, where do you play? I said, just go to AmishOutlaws.com, because I honestly don't know where the next one is, because, you know, you don't check until it's time to check.
Right.
You know, I'm worried about what's coming up right now. And then when you ask me while we're in the middle of what's right now, I don't know what's next until I'm done with right now.
So you don't necessarily know, if I were to say to you, where will you be next, or 2 Thursdays from now? Do you know off the top of your head?
No. I know where I'm this Thursday.
Right, but
No,
beyond that window.
I'm actually this Thursday, I'm nowhere.
Okay, that's a good thing. Or
This-
it's not a good thing.
Well, no, because we're doing show Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we're going to Maryland this Friday, Saturday, and then Martell's for Cinco de Mayo.
And Martell's is in Point Pleasant.
Point Pleasant. Yeah.
Okay.
Down
So
by
let's
the
let's
water.
do this. We'll probably air, taping right now, we are April 29th. We'll probably air in about 2 days. So
Wow.
roughly. So where is the next gig you have after, say, Cinco de Mayo? Or sorry, May 1st instead. Let's start there.
Well, May 1st is Wednesday, no?
Right.
Okay,
So
nothing there. May 1st, May 2nd, May 3rd
3rd is Friday.
is Friday. So that's going to be at a place called Looney's. There are 4 Looney's locations in Maryland. There's a big, big pub place.
Right.
There's one in Maple Lawn. There's one in Bel Air. There's one in Perry Hall. There's one in Canton, I think, is the other one. We don't play at that one, but we're at the one in South, which is almost by DC.
Okay.
And then on Saturday, we're at the one in Bel Air, Maryland, which is northeastern Maryland, and then come back up. Last week, we were out in Harrisburg at a place called Club XL.
Okay.
Beautiful, like state-of-the-art, great place to see bands. Like what you would have wished clubs would have been a long time ago. You know,
Right.
not just, horrible carpeting and just nasty walls and
and
clean bathrooms.
Size of stage we talked about
Oh,
before.
the stage was gigantic.
That's good.
over there.
Now, so who does all the organization for you? I mean, do you do it? Do you have a manager who?
You mean that gets the gigs?
Yeah.
Oh, they're called Shore Bets.
Okay.
Al and Zach and Justin and Chris, they work there. They're in Jersey. Shore Bets Entertainment Events. That's it.
So that's because this is something I know nothing of. So you'll work through like
They're the booking agency.
So so that's even something. So if you're a busy working musician, you're what I would call a regional band, if not a national band, something like that.
Regional, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll
I mean,
work
we're
with.
going to Vegas in July.
All right, so then you're a national band. But you'll have a booking agent, and then you'll probably get emails or this is your schedule and things like that. It's a world I know nothing of.
Yeah, it's nice when you know what's going on instead of wondering what's happening. So like each week they'll say, here's what you're doing this week.
Right.
And then they'll give you what's coming up next week. So
Now, are you guys at the point, because you play so much, do you need to have practices or are your gigs your practices?
no, yes. We don't practice
Okay.
until we're learning new songs. And we
Oh,
do
that makes
that like
sense.
once every 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
And then we'll add new ones in because, where we play is, 70, 80 places, and you play those places in the time frame of, I don't know, 12 to 14 weeks.
Wow.
So as you're coming through, you're overturning new songs with, some old ones that you haven't done in a while, some that you've done there too many times, and you just go, well, nobody's really into this one anymore. Get rid of that, replace that with this, and
Yeah.
it's back and forth. It's cover stuff. I always say it's everything that makes girls dance.
Because generally, guys don't like to dance as much.
We don't look like Bon Jovi, but girls like to dance. So you play stuff that makes girls dance, which is, not true because we do rap, rock, R&B, hip hop, classic rock, alternative, everything.
You do it all.
Not Gregorian chant, but yeah.
All right, I like
There's
that.
there's even an operatic music in
Really?
there.
Now, you gave me a segue. We're going to, completely out of order.
All right.
6 Degrees of John Bon Jovi. You mentioned his name. I'm going to hit you with it now. So
6
you're a Jersey
degrees.
guy. How many
Okay.
degrees will it take to get you there?
I can get there. We count John as one, or do we count
No.
the person removed from John one?
Person removed is 1.
And then me is 2?
Yes.
So I can get there in 2 steps.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, so there is a drummer by the name of Charlie Mills. So whoever forwards this over to Charlie Mills, Charlie, I'm sorry. Charlie grew up in a town called Sayreville,
Okay.
and his house was here.
Okay.
John Bon Jovi's house was there,
Okay.
and a guy by the name of Dave Sabo, who is the guitar player in Skid Row, was over here.
Okay.
Charlie was John's original drummer in the Atlantic City Expressway, which, who else was in that? Dave, the keyboard player, Dave
He
Bryan.
became
was
a
in it.
real estate agent.
Dave did?
The drummer. I've met him.
Who? Who's the drummer then?
No, the one you're telling me about. I met a guy many years ago who was apparently John Bon Jovi's original drummer.
Okay.
And I was told that he became a real estate agent.
Well, Charlie's not a real estate agent. Charlie still plays drums.
A guy from Jamesburg, so maybe there was another earlier drummer before Tico.
Oh yeah, I mean that stuff is they.
So they went through a lot.
Yeah, I can go in through. I can go through the original bass player too.
Oh, let's hear. All right, so
Okay, so it's John. Alec was the original bass player.
Okay.
When they first hit with the
Playing-
first Bon Jovi.
playing a club in A in Saraville, right?
Yeah. So he, I don't know, dated.
Okay.
I guess a girl that was a bridesmaid in my brother's wedding. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So
All right,
I
you
can
made
get
it
there in
within
2.
6.
I can get there in 5. I
Right.
can get there probably in every single angle to
I
get
bet,
to
yeah.
him. But
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I think it's funny that you're in Jersey and somehow, some way, you might not know it,
Everyone's
but you're
got it.
6 steps removed from knowing John.
Everyone's got to have it. Everyone's got to have it in Jersey. All right, so now I'm all confused. It's your fault. Amish Outlaws.
Yeah.
Amish Outlaws. So let's talk about the theme.
Okay.
All right, because we sort of glossed over that.
All right.
You guys do covers, you play regionally, you'll go out to the West Coast, you'll hit Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
What's, for lack of a better term, what's the deal with the concept of the Amish Outlaws as opposed to, Foresight cover band or some generic name like that? What's the theme?
Well, if you think about, some people don't know much about Amish life at all. There's a community you know, they're religious, they're simple people. They don't take any modern comfort, you know. And they have a thing called Rumspringa, which is go out into the world for a year and then come back and see if you want to stay with us. If you want to stay with us, you're going to go by our rules or, you know, the shunning. Right. Well, those guys went out on Rumspringa and air conditioning's nice. They like music.
Sleeping past 5 a.m. I would think is nice.
Dancing, girls, electricity, all of those things, you know, the devil's playground, right?
Right.
So, I mean, you'd be hard pressed to go back for that, you know.
And yet so many people do, I guess.
Well,
Yeah.
and if you figure you're Amish, you're playing modern music with
Yeah.
electricity in an air conditioning room, drinking, partying, you're an outlaw to the Amish way.
It's perfect.
So, Amish Outlaws.
And then when that started, you know, and there's the irony to it because you guys dressed the part. I know at some point tonight we're going to do a costume change for you.
Oh, well.
If you want.
Yeah.
Okay. But is there something for the audience about watching guys dressed like that but playing rock, playing rap, playing pop, whatever you're playing? You think that's part of the allure?
When I first joined, the band had you know, was known around.
Right.
New York, New Jersey, a little into Pennsylvania, a couple spots in Maryland. And obviously, when I first putting this on, I'm just like, oh, this is
Right.
not cool. This is not rock and roll.
Right.
Because that's what I was, you know. I was playing rock bands and stuff. And you put it on, and obviously somebody's going to,
What's that about?
you know,
Yeah.
start picking up the kids and moving away because there's a fascination to it.
Yeah.
People go out to Lancaster County just so they can see the buggies rolling by because it's just a weird thing to them. It's not weird to these people.
Right. Right.
By the way, don't take pictures of them. They don't like that. It's kind of rude, actually, if you think
Right.
about it. You know?
Yeah.
But that whole oddity, what is it? It's like looking at a platypus. You're like, what the heck is that, and how did it get
That's
to
a
this
good.
point
That's a
in
good
life?
metaphor. Yeah.
But there are times when we'll play somewhere. I'm not even thinking about what I'm wearing. You know, we're done, and somebody's just kind of. And you could see it. You know when somebody's they go,
Right,
and they
because
look and they.
because you've got the ponytail going on, so it's not like you've got this short cropped, you know, sort of conservative haircut. You could be a big dude dressed like that, and they might think, all right, he's just Amish, but then they're like, what's happening there?
They usually think I'm the Amish one. I'm like, I'm not. Those guys are. Somebody would come up and say, you know, well, I grew up in Lancaster. I'm like, I'm from Jersey.
Right.
Talk to that one over there. The other ponytail guy, go talk to him. He knows all about it.
Oh, that's funny. So now I know right now, these days, for the last X number of years, you've been the lead singer, but you started as a guitar player for the band.
Yeah, I used to play guitar in the band, and I had one of those big old mothership boards that had a GT8 on it. If anybody's familiar with that, the unified pedal board. You know,
I had one of those ones.
And
At Russo Music, I got it right around here.
Well, I got my first guitar, actually, it's sitting over there, at Russo Music.
Right.
My Kramer Focus 3000, back when Eddie Van Halen.
Right, he endorsed it.
Yeah, that was, I got my first one in 84, 85, I think.
Okay.
But Eddie was why I picked up a guitar in the first place. You know,
Right,
which is, there's a lot of guys that did that. You know?
Well, there's the story that when he would play, I guess, the whiskey, that he would have to have his back to the crowd because he didn't want them to copy it because there would be guitar slingers in the crowd. So when he's hammering, which people have done similar things, but they hadn't really done that, he had to play with his back to the crowd so people wouldn't steal his chops.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen that.
Oh my God. I've read it. I have seen them. I saw them with David Lee Roth. I haven't seen them.
I saw them
with
with
Sammy, not David.
No, but I mean, when you're talking about like
that would be
being there,
amazing.
present in that moment at
my
like,
God.
I don't know, was it Gazars or somebody like that, you know, and you just go, who's this guy? What is this? What is?
Yeah, history's treating him pretty well, I think, in terms of being like a legit innovator.
Oh yeah, I mean, no one was thinking of doing. Well, maybe there's always some great unknown.
Right. Someone who probably hammered without commercial success.
Yeah.
And all the other great things he did.
Yeah.
But, you know, I watched the other day, somebody was putting on, maybe it was Eruption, because Scott and I have been talking about that a lot recently, but they put some live thing on YouTube, some, you know, very self-indulgent 12, 14-minute solo Which is,
Nobody cares anymore. No one does.
No.
Oh, you sat in your room and you played your guitar. Oh, good for you. Okay.
yeah, yeah. No, that's what Scott and I talked about, is that no one cares about it, but there was a time when we would go to a concert. That's right, I saw them with Sammy, but I'm sure, I don't remember, but I'm sure he did a 10-minute solo at some point, you know?
I went to go see them with Sammy. I never saw them with Dave.
No, I didn't
And it was at the Philadelphia Spectrum. I was in that back
Right.
quadrant back there, if anybody remembers the Philadelphia Spectrum, and everybody, it's time for the guitar solo. And he started with that thing called 316.
Right.
And I was standing the whole time, and I got my binoculars, and I'm watching it. And then it would transition into Eruption, and it transitioned into Spanish Fly, and it transitioned into all his little guitar pieces.
Right.
That all of his guitar work up to that point. I went home that night, and I was up until probably 4 or 5 in the morning, learning that first part, because I knew all the rest already.
Oh, so you were already a guitar player when you saw him?
Oh yeah. So when I was 15.
Okay.
Oh, we'll get into that one, right? Because everybody has their "why did you start playing" thing.
Yeah.
I was on a motorcycle.
That was very organic, by the way.
It was.
Yeah, because I wanted to talk about that.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
So
So you're 14 or
you got to
15?
watch out for Monsanto. They like to go and grab the organic things and then corrupt them.
They do.
Okay, enough politics.
Yeah.
I'm on a motorcycle. I go to pull out into traffic, and a car hits me, turns me into a hood ornament, pops my leg out, and I'm in a full leg cast,
Okay.
a cast longer than Monica. And sorry, why are you picking on me? So, which Bill Cosby actually signed my cast.
Did he really?
Yeah.
All right.
It was back before we knew anything. But yeah, I everybody had that first Bill Cosby thing, one called Himself, and you thought, oh wow, he's funny. But he signed that cast. It was my mom took me to see him for my birthday when I was 16.
Wow.
But anyway,
So
we cut it off, and the guy goes, "You want that?" And nah. So I was laid up for the summer.
Oh, okay.
Friend of my brother's. My brother used to play guitar.
And what town, by the way? You're in Jersey, right?
I'm down in by Fort Dix and McGuire.
Okay.
And so this guy comes over and he's like wanting to talk to my brother. He wants to sell his guitar. And my parents were the parents that would take in anybody.
Okay.
So I'm third in line, but there were other stragglers around that my parents took in.
Right.
And he was staying with us at the time, Billy. And a guy named Mike wanted to sell the guitar to my brother, who had been playing in bands, who actually was managed by my physics teacher before I ever went to high school. Billy didn't have the money to buy it. I said, I'll buy it. I had no desire to play guitar.
Okay.
I had no interest in playing guitar.
But you wanted to be part of that scene, whatever it was.
I didn't know anything. I just knew, I just heard guitar and I went, I'll buy it. I didn't have $30 at 16, not back then. I go into the kitchen, my dad's there on the phone with his brother at the time, and I said, can I have $30? Points at his wallet, and I grab the wallet and all my crutches. And he hands me $30. I go back out, I hand him the $30. Here comes this, I didn't bring it, but it's...
Oh, you still have it?
I absolutely still have it. It looks like a Les Paul. It's a Les Paul knockoff, but it says Trump on it. This was a long time ago. Whatever you think, I don't care. But it was a Trump Les Paul copy. I don't think the guy made guitars. I don't think his family made guitars. I don't know what they were doing
It
back
could
then.
be the adjective, like this trumps all other guitars or something.
It trumped none of them. But I actually did use that guitar on my original music. I used it for a little part in the song called Contradiction.
So single coil humbuckers.
That had 2 humbuckers in it. It was literally just, it was amazing that it would stay in tune. Most people, they go, I taught guitar for a little while, and parents would always say, well, what should I get him? And I said, do not get the cheapest thing. Well, but if he doesn't like it, if she doesn't like it, what do I do then? Don't get the cheapest thing, because they're not going to like it. And here's why, because the action on the guitar
is 4 inches off the neck.
You looking there, the action there?
Yeah, so you see how this goes? The closer it is to the neck, the better your action
The easier it is to play it.
Yeah.
Because this was actually the guitar I used with, when I was on with the Amish Outlaws a lot.
Oh, you got to pick.
A lot of noise.
Look, you came prepared.
I'll pick you. But it's like, for a kid to play a chord,
Oh, it was so hard in the beginning.
you can't.
Yeah.
It's out of tune. What? Anyway. That's enough, because then we're gonna have the copyright infringement. But
You can't play more than that.
that's Joe Walsh, Funk 49. But a kid can't play that.
No, not when there's bad action.
No.
And just show folks just the effort to put a chord together. Like,
That's easy.
do you remember the day you first learned how to play bar chords?
I don't remember the day. However, I do remember. Now this is acoustic. Acoustic's a lot harder to play.
So much harder.
But when you this is a Martin 1997
Beautiful.
anniversary edition. You see it down in there, special edition.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Can you zoom in on that, Monica? Try not to get my face. I'm not HD friendly, I told you. You got it? Okay, good, great. But
It's got a beautiful tone.
yeah, it's a great guitar. But playing that,
It's so
Is
hard
hard
for young
because-
fingers.
yeah, they're small.
Yeah.
If the action is up high, like the action on this is really, really low.
Right.
If you're looking at it, I don't know if she can see it or not. My head's probably in the way. But this is a $2,000 guitar. And if you buy a $30 guitar,
It's
unlike
frustrating.
the Trump model that I got, if you buy a $30 guitar from a store, you're not playing that.
No, and I tell
And little
people,
tiny fingers.
Oh God, no. And I tell people, start your kids on electric. And all the parents say, no, I want to start them on acoustic because it's nicer. And it's, no, they'll have more fun on electric and they're more likely to stick with it and it's easier to play.
And it's not about you, Mom. It's about him.
Right.
It's not about you, Dad. It's about her.
Yeah.
You know, go and get a $200 guitar. Don't get that 120 watt amp.
Get a 15-watt practice.
Get
amp.
that's what I had. It was from Sears.
Oh, really?
It was literally like the size of like a Bible. You know, it was the size and width and thickness of a Bible, and it was just no frills, nothing. It was volume, tone, on, plug in. That's it. And eventually I found out about the toys. You know, distortion pedal, chorus pedal, and then you start adding that stuff on. You're like, I'm mowing the lawn. I'll wash the car.
Right. I had a lawn business. That's how I did it. Now, I built. My dad is an engineer. And somewhere I found a 1-watt amp. And he's an inventor. So he had this little box for something he had been inventing. I stole one of his metal boxes, drilled holes in for input, quarter-inch input, quarter-inch output. And I set up, somehow I connected AC to it. I don't know how I did it. And I had a 1-watt amp that I treated like a distortion box. So I would put guitar into the 1-watt amp. Then the output from the 1-watt amp hit the input of any guitar amp I used, and it was just this dramatic overdrive, like dramatic.
What did it sound like? Did you record it?
Yeah, all the
Did you like it, or?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful, and it created great distortion, and it was free because it's just stuff lying around the house, so I could plug it into my used $10, $15 amp.
Yeah.
I even converted an FM radio into a guitar amp once because I didn't have the money to get a regular amp initially. So you could just take out the tuner, create an input where the FM tuner would go into their little crappy amp, and you put 1 + 1 1-watt amps, and you get enough volume to fill a bedroom.
Okay, you just created 17 questions.
Okay.
How old were you when you did that?
14, 15
Okay,
maybe?
why did you know to do that?
My dad's an engineer, so I always like to tinker.
Did he tell you about that?
He helped me.
He helped you?
He helped me.
Who
So-
came up with the idea saying, hey, let's do this? You or him?
Me.
And you said, hey, I want to make this happen?
Yep.
Where had you gotten the influence to make that happen? Like, what was it like Keith Richards, can't get no satisfaction, where he blew the amp?
No, you know what? I think I knew the stories about the Kinks when they would take the razor blade to the speaker.
cut it, yeah, I got to be it.
So I knew those stories. I knew the stories about Hendrix putting amps next to each other,
Causing the feedback.
causing the feedback. So I wanted to create distortion. I don't know where I specifically, or what I emulated, what sound I specifically emulated, but I knew that they were using technology to create distortion, or like the Leslie speaker that would physically whirl in a
That
cabinet.
was so cool.
I mean, it's brilliant. So I just had this concept. I wanted to create a cool sound.
Yeah.
I didn't have the money to create a cool sound, so that's what I did.
You like what's his name?
Oh, I
the
know you're
Deaky amp that they made for Brian
Mesa
May.
Boogie. Oh, no.
No, it was this Deaky.
Oh, I don't know that one.
The guy Deacon was the guy made it. Wikipedia that.
Right.
I think it was called the Deaky.
Yeah, I know. Brian
But
May
it was
is
how he got his tone, and they made it for a little while,
Crazy. It's
and then
crazy good.
and then it went away because you only need one Brian May. You don't need
No, that's
400.
probably why. You're right. And then you look at what's his name, Schultz from Boston.
With the
created-
Rockman stuff.
Yeah.
We all love Boston sound,
Yeah,
and that was it. It was one and done.
yeah. Now you're now. So when you have an amp, are you a sample kind of sound guy, or do you have tube? Like what's the sound you have?
Okay, so what I have now, when I originally started, it was with like Boss pedals.
Okay.
Which
Yep.
everybody
Everyone
started
has
with.
Boss pedals.
And then when I finally, oh my gosh, that digital, they had a DD3 digital delay pedal.
Okay.
When I got that, it was like $150, like 7 million years ago.
Right.
And I got it at Russo's from Joe. I pointed that way because Russo music is that way. It's behind Monica to the left. It's in Bordentown. Is that in Bordentown still? No.
I would think
don't know.
Hamilton.
We're in
would be the
Bordentown.
address.
That's Hamilton.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But anyway, that's where I got my first guitar. That's where I got all my stuff from them. And so when I got that cathedral that's on Diver Down from Van Halen,
Right.
that bounce, 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 bounce. That when I first learned how to do that whole thing,
Right.
I thought I had everything right there in 2 pedals.
Oh yeah, that's
The distortion pedal,
Yeah.
and then I went, well, not everything's distortion. Well, then let's figure out how to make a clean sound work, you know.
Right,
And then you
right.
get a chorus on it, and then you got 17 things strung along. And you go, yeah, that's a mess. Somebody's gonna get killed here.
Did you get adept at the wah-wah pedal? Were you ever good at that?
I was not. I did have a talk box.
Oh, like a la, what's his name? Frampton, Peter
Yeah,
Frampton. You have
yeah.
one of those? Or you
Well, I had one.
have- Okay.
And when I was 25, another car accident, I wiped out my face, and this is all metal.
Literal. No, you're not being
Literal-
silly.
I'm not, no, that's all, I won't gross you out. I don't want to mess up the makeup they put on my face to make me HD friendly. But there's literally, you can feel screws in my head, face, whatever, you can feel them. So doing that, I did use it, a talkbox effect on, again, back to my original music,
Did you use it on that song?
on a song called Always Something.
But not on the Frampton song.
But here's the thing. No, I didn't. You know, oh gosh, who can do what Frampton does?
It's like
he
his-
had something else there that you didn't know about.
You think?
Mine never sounded that clean, that sweet. It never sounded like Sambora's.
He was like
You know?
a rock version of George Benson, because George Benson could sing with the guitar, and that's what Frampton was doing on that.
But then here's the thing: the sound,
Yeah.
your mouth is making that sound. So when I started to use the talk box after having the accident, it was the worst headache on the planet
Oh my
because
God.
my
All the
jaw's
metal's gonna
broken and stuff.
reverberate,
It's all
right.
yeah, it was awful. I'm like, okay,
Right.
we didn't have eBay. We just went and found somebody that would buy it.
Right.
I don't need this anymore. I'm not
Yeah.
using it.
Right.
So that was my experience with that and all the little tricks and stuff. But these days it's it's a Mesa amp.
Oh, so you have a boogie?
Yeah, the Triaxis, the Mesa preamp. I went Mesa everything.
Right.
Um,
and that's tube, obviously.
Yeah. It was all rack mount stuff. I mean, it's just
Oh, so you don't have the original
I don't have a
112 or
stack.
the 212 or
No,
whatever.
I
they
just
have.
have it's a little tiny Mesa speaker.
Now, do you know their origin story, right?
No,
Oh.
what is it?
So the story of Mesa Boogie,
Okay.
which I've read about and I've Wikipedia'd. I used to have it wrong. I think I have it right now.
Yeah.
So a guy is running a repair shop or some kind of amp shop. His buddy drops off, I believe it was a Fender Champ or a Backstage, a small Fender like a 112.
Yeah.
This guy decides to play a positive trick on his friend, and he took out the amp and put in the equivalent of a Marshall or something like that, and a more powerful speaker,
Okay.
and then turned it into a mini secret super amp. And I know I'm getting the story a little off, but it's very
all right.
Wikipedia-able.
Okay.
But basically, the concept, it's like taking a Chevelle and putting a Mustang engine, or I can't think of a better car metaphor, but something like that. Or young Frankenstein putting a different brain in someone.
Yeah.
But in any event, so his friend gets the guitar amp back, and it's not what he thought. It's not this little practice amp. It's whatever it is, a 50-watt super-powered, fantastic amp. Then the word gets out, more and more people want this, and that's how Mesa Boogie was born. Something like that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I've always wanted one, and I never invested the money to get one.
I got lucky because the thing was everybody was either Marshall or Fender.
Right.
And I have a horrible tendency to stay away. Like if the crowd is there,
Right.
I want to be out here
Yeah.
on the periphery. I don't have to be isolated from it.
Yeah, 'cause
but I
Mesa's
want to
not
be out here to
isolated.
see where it's going.
Right.
You know, if everybody's going that way, I'll nudge that way. You know, whatever the trend is. Like when everybody I don't know, when everybody liked Motley Crue and Def Leppard when I was in high school, I was kind of over here to the side.
Right.
But then again, I was in the marching band, so.
Well, I grew up hating Bruce Springsteen in Matawan, New Jersey.
I didn't
and now
like-
I think he's wonderful.
I didn't like Bruce either until I went to a show.
He's amazing.
3 hours later, I went,
Yeah.
well, first off, if
Yeah.
you go to a Bruce show and you get into your seat, you're like, okay, this is good. We're 7 miles away from the stage. And then everybody comes in.
Yeah.
And the minute he walks on, you get that charge of
Oh,
everybody.
my
You
God.
feel everybody, their energy. It's like
yeah.
going to Disney World.
Oh.
And you walk up, you get to the Magic Kingdom and you see that, and all those little kids are insane.
Yeah.
And if you can't feel happy there, you're a miserable person.
Yeah, right. The positivity abounds.
Exactly.
So I saw him 5-6 years ago, shortly after Clarence died. And they did the thing where they, I think, is it Rosalita? Which is the big sax solo? I mean, he has a lot, but
That would probably be.
probably. So they did Rosalita, and then they just stopped, and they had silence.
Put a light on his chair or something, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah. So it was just the lighting that made my eyes all.
yeah,
It had
yeah.
nothing to do, but it was so powerful.
Was that at Giant Stadium?
No, I saw him in Philly, and then a buddy of mine. We went together, and somehow we managed to get ourselves in the bad seats behind the stage. But my friend said these are the best seats in the house. So sure enough, we're backstage, probably 13 feet from Bruce, with an unobstructed view from behind, and no one wanted to sit there. They were empty. And what was amazing is that I realized he's a modern day Tony Dorsey. So there was a set of stairs that go from the under the stage to the front.
Okay.
He got out there early, and then he had this just a huge, sincere smile on his face. And you know that because when he's looking our way, where there's few people, he's smiling.
Yeah.
As each member of his insanely large orchestra
Yeah.
comes up the stage, he would shake their hand, go like this, and smile and say like, "Have a great," whatever you could see him mouthing.
yeah.
It was just pure positivity. Every single person who walked up, he gave that to. And then I realized, wow, he loves what he's doing, and that positive energy that he's giving to each of his band members is then being teleported out to us. It was amazing.
Well, you just reminded me. And that's awesome that you got to see it. Now, when I said Giant Stadium to you,
Yeah.
I remembered when I went to see him.
Okay.
One of the last shows at Giant Stadium before they tore it down.
Right, the old, right.
So he had 2 outcroppings in the front, and I actually ended up at the front of one of them, like literally the bike rack barricade was there.
Right. So you're right in front of the bike
So when
rack.
you told me that I actually have a first-hand Bruce Springsteen
Oh, you
story.
do? All right, let's hear it.
So he's, doing his thing, and he's going down and around. He's talking to everybody. He goes on that side, and I was like, oh, he's coming this way.
You're the girl who danced on stage with him in the video?
yeah. That was pre-op. This is post-op.
Yeah.
I figured I'd get ugly and stop TV. So I'm like, whoa, he's going. I had a flip phone, horrible camera on it.
Right.
And I'm like, he's got to come this way. He's got to keep balance, right? So he comes up here into where we are. He's literally where your glass of wine is from me, and I ended up getting pushed by the 7,000 people behind me.
Oh, right.
And there's this tiny girl in front of me, and I'm like, she's
Holding
going to
the
get
bike
crushed.
rack,
Yeah,
to protect her, right.
She made Monica look like Gulliver, And I'm sitting there trying to stop, and everybody's starting to grab Bruce, and they're pulling him down.
Oh, really?
I put a book that I wrote. I put a picture of it in it. Where
I like that you just said that the book that I wrote, but we'll get to that. Yeah.
because it's the only place where I can show you this picture.
Right.
Because the phone is gone and I've lost the photo.
Right.
So he's literally this far, and I'm trying to take picture, and I'm
Right. Punch me.
no. I got the picture, and you literally see him being dragged underneath by the
Right.
into the
So what year
depths.
is this? Like early 90s, maybe?
No, it's 2000.
Oh, so much more recent than that.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
No, it must have been before I was in this band. Somewhere between 2000 and 2007.
Okay.
Somewhere there.
Right.
And I literally said to him, "Hey, can you back up? I'm crushing her." And he goes, "Yeah, sure."
Oh, that's
He can't
fantastic.
get up. He had to have everybody come in and get him. He's laughing at me because I said, "But it's literally, I'm right here."
So you're just
back
feet
up,
from
back
him.
up. Yeah, okay.
Oh, that's funny.
Telling the guy it's his show,
Right.
and I'm telling him back up because I'm
Oh, that's
crushing this
fant-
girl.
And this is not at the Stone Pony. This is at a
It's a
huge.
giant stadium. There's 80,000 people there, 60,000, whatever.
That's hysterical.
It was at the old Giant Stadium, so whatever it was, he sold it out like 17 days in a row. But I literally told Bruce Springsteen to move at his own show like an idiot.
funny.
Yeah, I felt like I was cringing the entire time afterwards.
But yeah.
He must think I'm a total tool.
Or he got a kick out of it.
Or he didn't care. He's like, yeah, the ball's on this guy.
Yeah. Or he just has
Who
a
are
funny
you
story.
to tell me?
Yeah,
And he promptly
he's not
forgot.
wired like that though. He probably
Not at all.
he might have exited that whole scenario. Thank God that girl didn't get hurt. That was nice of the guy to.
He couldn't get up. They had him every single
So
direction.
I'm picturing it wrong, that he would be up here and you're down here.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Oh,
I
because
just,
of your
I just
height.
left the shot.
Yeah.
Okay, raise it up. My eyes are up here. I'm literally like this,
Right.
holding the stage.
Right.
He's here.
Oh, I see.
He's down on his knees. He
You're
went
not
down
holding
to
the
get
bike
something.
rack, you're holding the edge of the stage.
Well, I was initially, and then it started to move, and then I got the stage, and
Oh, so
she's
you're-
still under here,
so
and I'm
his
just
feet
like,
are at the edge of the stage.
his head's here, and he's down. He's literally getting pulled in, and they're at this. It lasted maybe 15 seconds, but people are literally flying in from everywhere because he's getting pulled
Right,
in
right.
17 directions.
And he's the kind of guy who will want to mix it up, which is probably difficult if
He
you're
didn't
his
care.
handler.
He
Yeah.
didn't care. He was just like, oh, this is how I die. Okay.
Right, right.
You know, and then nobody would have been able to go to Broadway or watch the Netflix special.
No, he works really hard. I mean, having seen him, he works so hard.
He's just amazing. He's got a new album coming out. I saw.
Oh, does he really?
No, that's in June. Anyway, that was my Bruce Springsteen story. I just remembered it.
All right, well,
Sorry, I didn't mean to slip in.
No, it's all good. We're very free form over here on Guitar Tales. So, we got this segue, and let's talk about it. You wrote a book. Why did you write a book? What was it about?
Well, so we used to play this place in Pennsylvania called the Bent Elbow. It was in Fort Washington. And this guy had a baseball team of kids. Giovanni was his name, was his name. I haven't spoke to him in a long time. So his children used to come see us, 1, 2, 3, 5, all of them, 9.
Okay.
9 of them. And this place was, it would get packed, the walls would literally sweat, you know, because it's that hot and humid.
Okay.
And then he came one time, and then he starts following me on Facebook. And I used to be a lot more energetic with what I would post, you know, just ridiculously funny things on there. And he started contacting me. He said, "You ever think about writing?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I got a bunch of songs. What do you want to hear?" He said, No, writing, like writing stories."
Yeah.
And I said, "I never thought about it." I said, "Nobody reads. Why would I do that?" And I said, "The fact that I even waste this is just me getting this off of my chest. I didn't put it there for anybody. I just was kind of like trying to talk to somebody that didn't exist."
Right,
But
right.
I thought they existed in my brain.
A little
like,
bit of self-therapy.
yeah, well, I figured, you know, this person's going to understand my situation. Little did I know there were multiple people that understood the situation. So he started it with like audiobooks, not audiobooks, ebooks they call it.
Right.
For like Kindle and what was the other one? The Fire for Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
So there were a bunch of these little ones. And then, you know, I got up to like volume 6 and they were just, you know,
So were you?
stories that one was stories that happened in the band. One was just, they're just anecdotal. I tried to make them funny.
So it's like now, was it like an oral history or was it typed? Were you dictating?
No, I was literally clickety-clacking it myself on my computer.
Well, that's
And then
fantastic.
I would just, you know, send it over to him, and then they would,
Yeah,
whatever they knew what they were doing, like everybody here knows what they're doing to make this happen and get into somebody's computer.
So that's fantastic. So you from scratch, no ghostwriter, maybe a little editing on their end, but you just wrote up.
No, they didn't even edit it.
Oh, really?
Oh, I'm annoying with things like grammar and
Oh, yeah.
spelling. Like when if I see somebody spelled something, somebody put something the other day, find, and it was supposed to be FINED, and they put FIND, and I just, you know,
Right.
I sit there and I type, and well, you know, if you find that, and I just start playing off of it in the thread, and then people that know me,
know
they
you're
start
doing it
liking
fine.
it. They know what I'm doing. You know,
Right.
it's not. I don't know. I don't mean it in a mean way. It just happens.
I'm sure it's taken in.
Usually I have to type it and send it to the bass player so that it gets out of my system and I don't put it up live.
Right.
But anyway, so we made a bunch of those, and
So you would do like a chapter at a time, and then they would get it added to
it was like a complete ebook, if you will.
Oh, so they didn't put it out there till you were done with all your chapters.
No, it wasn't even like chapters. It was like an ebook, like a like a small little thing that you read on your Kindle.
Like a 120 page book or something like that?
Yeah, little stuff. Like some of them were shorter, some of them were longer, but they were just on different topics, and it was just whatever the heck came to mind, and I would go off on it, and I'd send it to him. And then after about a year or two, he came in and he said, I want to do an actual book. And I said, why? He said, no, you know, a real book where your pages and everything.
Because it ain't broken, why fix it? Or you were not that
same
ambitious?
Reason, I wasn't that ambitious. The same reason, nobody reads.
No,
If it doesn't, like, you know, oh, Guitar Tales with Dave. That's about the max of their reading, and then they go on. They look at the picture, and they scroll to the next thing. And I was aware of this at that time.
Right.
And he goes, well, we could take all of them and put them together. And I said, they don't work together. They're just things. I said I would have to tweak it and make them flow to each other. And so I spent time doing that, and then, you know, ended up putting the book together.
That's a tremendous amount of work.
Well, I didn't think about it at the time.
But I know it is. I wrote a chapter to a legal book once, and it was an insane amount of work for the amount of pages I generated, because it's a different process than just an article.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we can play 6 Degrees of Guitarmacist. Scott's band, the Smoking Jackets, the drummer in that band, Tommy Janarone.
Right.
He actually wrote part of one story.
Oh, really?
It was like this. I don't know. It was like this Jersey Shore zombie sort of thing. Yeah, 6 Degrees of Scott Engel. But so he ended up. It's a soft cover book. It's on Amazon. I don't take a dime for it. I've not that it's made
right.
Grisham money.
Right, but that's fantastic.
But I don't. It goes to breast cancer.
That's fantastic.
If you don't like it, well, at least you helped a good cause.
Right.
But at that, hopefully, it makes somebody laugh. I think it's funny. People that have read it told me it's funny, but.
So what kind of stuff do you have in it?
It's literally just
anecdotes,
it's anecdotal things. It's hard for me to explain it.
Is it all from your music history? Do you talk
there's
about
There's stories in it. I mean, there's a story about the time when I met Ozzy.
Okay. You realize now you have to share that. Let's hear it.
So there's a wedding in New York, and it's the early 2000s, and go to this hotel, the Peninsula, I think it was, Pennsylvania Hotel. Oh, my train's here. And checking in, and I see this guy's got Black Sabbath on this cross. And I looked at the cross before I looked at him, and I looked at it, and I looked up at him like, standing there checking in. He looks familiar. I couldn't. The quickest thing to think is like, this is the bass player, Bill Ward from Black Sabbath, and it didn't click on me at the time.
I would have thought it's a fan.
No idea.
Is there something?
Yeah. Thought it was a fan. I'm in Manhattan.
Right.
Out in Long Island is Ozfest, but I wasn't thinking about it.
Right. You weren't connecting the
dots. No. Yeah. There's a wedding, and go to the wedding, come back, and my hair's all out and long, but people think sometimes my hair is connected to this hat. It's not. It's literally connected to my head. But at that time, and I had the nice tux on and going up the steps.
So you're a sight. So you're a tux with like the rock dude hair, and all 6'7" of you. So he's not
I don't want to see pictures of that time. I don't.
But
I don't want to post them.
He's not failing to notice you. You're not.
No. This is early checking in. I'm just dressed normal, and I see this guy, this bass player, right? So I go out. And
what you think is a bass player?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know it at the time. I still didn't know.
Yeah.
So it's literally 10, 11 hours later.
Yeah.
I'm coming up the steps. The lobby's on the first floor, and then you swing around to get to the elevators. So I'm going up the steps, and it was great, man. It was great. It's great. And let's get a drink at the bar. Sit down at the bar.
No one else talks like that, except for maybe Keith.
No one talks like that.
Right.
I sit down at the bar, wait for the bartender to come over. There's only about 7 or 8 people in this thing. It's about, 1, 2 in the morning. And I hear, Fabio! And I went, Ozzy's yelling Fabio at me.
Oh.
He's talking.
I didn't even get that.
He's talking to Marilyn Manson. Well, Fabio was big with the, I can't believe it's not butter thing.
Right.
But
and Marilyn Manson's right there too?
Sitting on the couch. That was when Marilyn Manson was on Ozfest.
Oh, okay.
Black Sabbath or whatever.
Right.
That was that time, whatever that year was. And Sharon was there.
Okay.
And
were they on TV yet together at that point?
it was going on, but it wasn't on, I think.
Okay, so
They must have, it was in the can, as they call it, you know,
Right,
it was
right.
done, but I don't know, it didn't explode yet.
right.
Or maybe it did, maybe it already had. No, that was a long time ago, actually. No, so it was already there. But, and I hear Sharon going, what's that commercial with it? I can't believe it's not, what's that commercial? And I'm, you know, you're the bartender, they're behind me. I'm trying not to acknowledge them and not.
Why? Why are you trying not to acknowledge?
Because there's a gigantic man at that end of the bar like this,
Protecting them.
asleep.
Yeah.
And when he heard that Fabio, his eye popped open, he's looking right at me. Is there going to be trouble?
Right. You're not looking for it, but he doesn't know that.
No, I knew that voice, and I turned in there, and I was going to walk over and say,
Yeah.
hi, Ozzy. I didn't say anything to him. I heard Sharon talking to her kids, and I guess her nanny or whomever was, you know,
Right.
she's got her family on tour, so that guy's on point watching
Right.
who's around anybody.
Yeah.
But as a resident, a guest of the hotel, they can't run me out of there.
Right. So they just have
You're
to
in
be
a public
careful.
area.
Yeah.
But so they end up, I hear them saying, you know, they're going up to their room and whatnot. And Ozzy's finally going to leave, and he comes right over to me. He goes, "Good night, Fabio.
Oh,
God
that's
bless
hysterical.
you.
That's
I love
hysterical.
you." Now he won't let go of me,
Oh, really? Because he's
and he's holding on to
intoxicated.
me, and I'm hugging him back, and I'm going. I looked at Marilyn Manson, and I looked at the bodyguard, and I'm like, "Is there an off button?" Now he had yelled Fabio at me 4 times, and I'm like, "You just cock-blocked me to your manager wife that I wanted to give my disc to, so that I go, can I have a record deal too?"
Right.
So I didn't care that Ozzy was there. I wanted to talk to her.
Right.
She left.
Because she ran his career for all his. She still does.
She's
Yeah.
amazing. But he had such a nice energy. How are you going to be mad at him?
No, you can't.
He's like, you know, and then
No,
he walked off.
was he blitzed or was he just being affectionate? Or you don't know?
You ever hear the term Hollywood clean?
No.
I think that means you're not doing drugs, but you will have a drink.
Oh, okay.
So I'm pretty sure that he was having a drink or 3 or 5.
Right, but
dozen.
not 15 with a bunch of lines of coke and he wasn't like
No. Well, not there.
Right.
He wasn't there, you know. But I mean, they had drinks out there. But every time he'd yell Fabio, I'd turn over and he's like, oh, "You look great, man. You look great." And Marilyn Manson's just like, you know, he's Marilyn Manson. But to see him mortified, he had this look like, it's him, not me.
I just heard, I think, was it on Volume? There was one of the guys from maybe Motley Crue was touring with him, and they were talking about how he just out partied every person in that band. Like,
Did you see The Dirt on Netflix?
no, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Well, first off, I felt sad watching it. I wished that I hadn't watched it. A lot of people were like, "Oh, it's great," but I watched it and I just was like, I wasn't a big Motley Crue fan.
No.
But I liked their songs. I've gone to see them on tour.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's a great show.
Right.
And there's, you know, diehard fans for any single band.
Right.
I mean, this band's got them.
Right.
But, you know, and every band's got their shortcomings. We probably eat and drink too much. But the stuff that I saw on that thing, I was just like, wow, really? But it made me sad for them. But the Ozzy section in that,
Right.
I'm not going to spoil it for you.
Yeah, he's got all sorts of positive energy going on, even though like his roots are in such sort of dark music in his early days. You know, it wasn't this like positive kind of stuff where you'd sort of smile listening. It's this hard driving heavy metal.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, he gets near you. You know, that, "We love you all."
Right.
He does.
Yeah.
He really does. I mean, I watched the Osbournes. I loved that show.
Oh, it was fantastic.
And he was befuddled.
Yeah.
You know, he couldn't figure out how the.
No, he almost comes across like he's got Alzheimer's. Maybe, I don't know. But there's a brilliant guy behind that facial inability to articulate. I don't know.
Well, there's also the editor,
Right.
who makes everything look nice.
Right. Now, do you think the editor of that show is making him look more or less cognitively challenged?
I imagine that there's probably a lot of stuff that never made
Right.
light of day.
Yeah.
And it's probably in somebody's, you know, every guitar player got the isolated Eddie Van Halen solos that the board guy like cropped
right,
everything out, and he was
right.
like, "Hey, you guys aren't going to pay me overtime? Yeah, okay, here that goes.
Right.
Here's
Someday
the
I can get right.
here's the drunk Eddie Van Halen solo.
Right.
I
Right.
think next time to pay me my overtime."
Right. That's probably true.
So, you know, it's sad, but it happens, and I'm sure that there's footage that
I would
is
think.
probably not flattering.
Right. That's what I would guess. But yeah, he seems like pure positive energy.
He was super
So
sweet.
about 20 years ago.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Really?
I just got weird. This is the.
You've been watching for way too long. You've probably eaten through all your Doritos. You probably double dipped all the chips in the salsa. Nobody's liking that, so just dump it out.
It's inappropriate.
No, it's very
We've been going.
unacceptable.
The mark of a great show. I feel like we're 15 minutes in. We just got to know we're an hour in. This is fantastic.
I'm sorry.
No,
it's not. There's nothing fantastic about it.
Oh, there is.
Love of my life sitting over there going, would you shut up? We got to go. The dogs are waiting. Hi,
So-
baby.
We will wrap it up, but I have an Alice Cooper story.
Wrap it up.
So many years ago, probably 20 years ago, my ex-wife and I are in Florida. Probably 25 years ago.
She wasn't your ex at the time?
No.
Okay,
no,
I was going to say, man, you're
no,
hip.
we're still good friends.
Okay, good.
But we're at this generic hotel, and I mean a generic, like a Holiday Inn-ish hotel,
Yeah.
7-8 miles in from the beach.
Okay.
$120 a night rooms, like nothing fancy. Every day we would go to the pool, and there was this nerdy guy with like dark hair would just go there and hang out a little bit. And her friend's mom was there, who I guess was in her mid-70s at the time, and that woman would periodically chat with him. And on the third or fourth day, we find out it's Alice Cooper who's in town to golf. And him without makeup, it is just, hanging out at a pool, not in a zillion years. Not in a zillion years.
Did you ever see him live?
No.
His show's great.
He would probably be fantastic.
Oh no! I went to see one like 5 or 6 years ago, and I went, Alice Cooper.
Yeah, I know, because I always thought of him as sort of
It was
fake.
awesome.
Really?
It was awesome. He always has great players. He can still sing his stuff.
Well, that's like, I could talk forever. You think like the Sex Pistols. You think, well, they're not going to have good musicians, but you listen to the quality of the studio production and whomever they hire. Lou Reed always had great guitar players, even though he wasn't really a great guitar player himself. But I could talk forever to you. But I guess we got to wrap it up.
Yes. Otherwise, well, I don't think. Are you still there? Wake up! Okay.
All right. So now, AmishOutlaws.com, right?
That is the website that has the story, the bios, the where to go and find us. It has all sorts of fun
All the
stuff.
dates you'll be playing.
All the dates we'll be playing. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram and the Twitter.
right.
Although I think Twitter's just for politicians and comedians myself.
That's all it's about now.
If you go over to YouTube, there's a show that we did. There's several episodes of Lunch with the Amish Outlaws.
You guys are
I think
foodies,
it's
I
funny.
know.
Oh,
Yeah. It's not that impressive.
this is all shirt fat right here. It's not actual fat. Yeah. Anyway, but that's funny. I liked doing that. There are about 700 videos of us playing live from little tiny places to great big places. The quality is of varying nature. We do live video sometimes depending on the Wi-Fi signal from where we're playing.
Oh, really? Like a live feed, in other words?
Yeah, Facebook Live.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's behind stage, sometimes it goes in front. And obviously there's drastic changes in sound, and the microphones on a cell phone aren't, it's
Right. Yeah, they're not the same.
it's not this. But that's why Prince was crazy about any live video getting up on him. He didn't like the quality of the video. He didn't like the quality of the audio.
Or his performance.
Yeah, but you asked me about underrated guitar players.
Oh, he was fantastic.
He's one of the biggest. You only thought of him because
Because
his
of his pop
style
song.
and his songs.
No, I've watched. He's a gunslinger.
That guy had a deal with God when he played Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It didn't rain the entire time. He kicks into Purple Rain. It was like somebody said,
Oh, it was
"Yeah,
crazy.
cue the rain, turn it purple, please."
Yeah. And then everyone followed him. All right. I could keep
Nothing
going.
as good as that.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for
joining.
having me.
Like, that was a bad. Let me try again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't
Do
get
that
it.
again.
There
I'm
we go.
always bad with that.
Yeah, you
And
got.
thank
got
you
that
if you
one.
watched. Thanks for indulging.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us on Guitar Tales. This is new to me, this concept. Apparently, you're supposed to hit like. I don't know what exactly that means, but it helps the show. We have Nixon's Head coming up. We're in the process of booking them. I know that their guitar player was in Memphis recently. He was in England. So I messed that up. Let's edit that out. He was in England recently, but we'll have Nixon's Head Best. We're going to have Jim Slade and Andy Rosenau. We will see you next time on Guitar Tales.